Welcome, everyone. I'm Diane Yetter with the Sales Tax Institute, and we are here for another episode of our Women to Watch in Sales Tax. And today, I'm thrilled to introduce you to Nancy Prosser, who is General Counsel at the Multistate Tax Commission. Welcome, Nancy.
Hi, Diane. It's great to be with you.
So Nancy, everyone might not know what the Multistate Tax Commission is. So can you tell us what the organization is, and then what does a General Counsel do?
Sure. So the Multistate Tax Commission is an interstate governmental entity whose members are the heads of the departments of revenue across the country. All states except really one at this point participate in some aspect of the work of the commission, which includes a multi-state audit program, a national nexus program. And then one of the things we're most known for is our uniformity work, where over the years we've developed a series of model statutes, regulations, and other guidance. We really focus our work on multi-state income, franchise, sales, and use tax issues. We have a very robust public participation policy, and that requires us to give notice to the public about our meetings and other activities so that they're aware and can participate, because we really appreciate that stakeholder input. And so my work as general counsel, I oversee a group of 8 attorneys. A big part of our work is to staff these uniformity projects that we're working on, but we also are there to serve as a resource for all the attorneys in the departments of revenue or AG offices who work on state tax issues and need some training and support. I guess one of the other ways I think about my work is to, in a sense, be an ambassador for the MTC to do things like this to help people better understand what our work is and what we do.
It is quite an undertaking that you are doing with that, and your leadership on that uniformity project has really been appreciated. So thank you for that.
Well, and you've been a great contributor, Diane. So it's a great example where somebody can really make an impact when they have knowledge and experience like yourself. And I'll just say for anybody who wants more information, if you go to our website, www.mtc.gov, there's a dedicated webpage devoted to that project. You can find information about our meetings and what we're working on. And again, you're welcome to provide active input or just sit in the background, as some people do, and just observe and listen to what we're up to.
And that is a great aspect, that all the meetings are public. So Nancy, is there something that you've accomplished maybe more in the sales tax space? I know you work in the various different tax disciplines that you're most proud of that you've accomplished?
So I've now been a state local tax attorney for 30 years, which is hard to imagine in some respects. And I've had a great career. I practiced in Texas before I joined the MTC in June of 2020. In Texas, if you know that state's tax system at all, it's very heavy on sales and use tax. So most of the cases I handled as a litigator were sales and use tax. I guess overall, I'm just really proud of the impact I think my work has had, both in the cases that I've handled and the tax administration issues that I've handled. Even now at the MTC, it's been a great career to represent the state's interest in these really thorny, interesting sales and use tax issues. And so as I reflect on my career, I just feel really proud that I've just had a hand in some of that, and that things like words that I helped craft are now in statute somewhere, or again, a case I handled actually still makes an impact in the jurisprudence of the state of Texas. So, I want to take this opportunity to, plug public service. I know a lot of your focus on these talks, showcase understandably women in the private sector, but I'm really proud to represent women who are made a mark in the public sector.
And I think that is something to be really proud of, Nancy. I started my career as an auditor for the state of Kansas, so I also know what it feels like to be on the state side and how you can have an impact. And it isn't always adversarial relationship. It can also be a very advisory relationship. And I think, in my interactions with you, I've always felt like you are there to try to get to the right answer, not necessarily the answer that is always in the favor of the state or the MTC, if it might be. So, so I do appreciate your role in that.
Well, and you bring up a good point, Diane. Having that knowledge about how a Department of Revenue works, having contacts in the departments. Of course, there are going to occasionally be those disputes that go into litigation, and you just are going to have to do that as a way to resolve it. It's like, let's make sure that if this tax is going to be imposed, it's done so in the most efficient and effective way that, again, as I like to say, increases certainty and clarity and decreases the risk and the disputes that might happen along the way.
That's a great way to put it. So Nancy, given that most of your career has been in the government sector, do you have any advice to women working in that sector that might want to continue their career and excel in their career?
It's such a complex area, and it's continuing in the complexity. We need really good people who understand these tax issues, whether it's nexus or sourcing. You can have a single individual sitting in far west Texas or a small Kansas town, and they can touch the world with whatever goods or services they are selling. And those people need good counsel, good advice to know what they need to do to be in compliance. And so I just think there's a lot of opportunity there for people to grow and really make a difference. And the other thing that I think is so great, in terms of like meeting people like you, Diane, and getting to work with people like you, I've always found there's a really great sense of community and camaraderie, that people want to help each other, and we're all better off if we can learn together. So, like I say, if somebody's inside a Department of Revenue or thinking about working for a Department of Revenue, or even if that's not your path, but just as you've already noted, Diane, be mindful that you can still have an impact in a very positive way by engaging with your Department of Revenue or a group like MTC. I think on the whole, you'll find that most people want to get it right and, again, make tax administration and tax compliance as easy as possible for people so they can get on with their lives.
Nancy, thank you so much for joining me. And it has been a pleasure hearing a little bit more about what work you do and truthfully, the importance of the MTC in this whole state and local tax environment. It really is an organization that everyone needs to be aware of. And thank you for your role there.
Well, thank you, Diane. Really enjoyed the conversation today.